Hello, everyone. This is Animezingly Baka, the amazingly stupid podcast all about anime and movies and TV shows and manga and comics and books and music and so much more. Sans video games, of course. And of course, I'm your horse. Yeah, I'm your horse, otherwise known as your host, Mark Krishnez. Hi, how are y'all doing? How's everyone doing? Hopefully well. So, anime. What is it called again? I need the name of that one. It's too long. The cooking one. It's just too long for me to remember off the top of my head. Campfire cooking in another world with my absurd skill. Got the second episode of this, and it was a fine episode. There's another kind of, it's solid. It's not quite. It's doing what its job is, I guess, in being this relatively pleasant aside of an anime. But right now, 2 episodes in, it's fine. It's fine. I think what hurts it most is being during the same season, at least for me, because I'm not watching a lot seasonally. But having this in addition to My Hero Academia and Spy Family, especially how strong My Hero is and Spy Family's last few episodes, especially this last episode was quite good. It's just kind of like, oh, yeah, it's there. And I wasn't a huge fan of this most recent episode because the elf guild leader character was too excitable. They were too extra the whole time, just freaking out over everything. Oh my god, you've got a little pixie dragon. What does it eat? What does it like to eat? It's like, oh, it likes to eat pretty much everything. I haven't found anything it doesn't like. And then the pixie dragon's like, I like most things except for this one food. I'm not super keen on that, but everything else I'm good with. I prefer meats, of course, but everything else, I'm cool. And then Alpha's like, wait, you can speak to the pixie? I've never heard of anyone being able to do anything like this. I can't believe he's just freaking out over everything. And they're going to him to cut up to, what is the word I'm looking for? Not prepare, but to deal with the earth dragon he has. And when he tries to cut it with his mithril sword, his mithril dagger, it breaks immediately on contact. So they have to figure out a way to get the materials to craft a new one, a more powerful one, a stronger one that can cut through the earth dragon's skin. And instead of going dungeon crawling, like, what is it, Fenra wants to do, they end up making a pact with those 2 male gods who were dealing with the lady ones. And he gives the blacksmithing skill to the little slime ball thing and war skills to the pixie dragon. And it's not Fenra. What is his name? I guess you just call him Fel. Fenrir. Close-ish. Well, we'll just call him Fel. And of course, Dora for the pixie dragon. And Sui for the little slime ball. But as is evident by the way I'm talking about, I'm not feeling this right now. And I don't know if it's that I'm not in the mood for it or I remember liking the first season more. Can't quite tell you. But I'm enjoying it well enough, but I'm not looking forward to it. I can say that much at least. When a new episode comes out, I'm like, okay, I'll watch it, but I'm not excited about it. When I watch an episode, I'm not itching for that next one. It's just there and it's fine, but that's the extent of it. Gachiakuta, solid episode. Basically just splits up all of the characters, all of the cleaners into different parts of this place they're at so that they can have, well, I think, no, just the two are grouped together, but they split them all up so that they can get into one-on-one fights with the raiders who best counter their particular abilities. We have, what is his name? I always forget his name because it's not any kind of pun or reference or anything. But we have Engine with this scared looking kid character who's hiding behind a wardrobe. And all we see with their interactions so far in this episode was Engine going, hey, 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 hey. You gonna say anything? You gonna say anything? I'm feeling kind of lonely here. So, maybe join the conversation. Hey, 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 hey. And all we get from the character who he's talking to is that they think he's pretty cool. They think Engine's pretty cool. And I agree. Engine is a pretty cool character. Every time he's on screen, I think to myself, Engine, he's pretty cool. Just his vibe, his look. When I was a young kid, when I was in high school and hated life more than any other time in my life, Engine was the kind of person I wanted to be. So I get it. But then we have, I always want to call him Genki, Zanka. That's it, Zanka. But we get Zanka back with the scissor hands dude. That was a good fight. Zanka, one of the things I like about the show, because the thing I'm also noticing too, well, one, the OP after the second listening to it as I almost knocked my glasses off my face. I like the buildup. I like the intro of it. The second vocals come in, I don't like it. I'm out. I do not like the vocal track on the new OP. So that's unfortunate. I'm sure people enjoy it, but the two-parter or the compound I don't know. The combination of trying to follow Pale Dust's hugs in addition to me not loving the vocals just makes it so that I'll probably start skipping it after another week or two. I might give it a few more shots to see if it sticks with me in some way, but not really loving it. With Rudo, not too much going on. He's just there with the Raider leader because he sent everyone else away, as I already said. And yeah, we get some with the Reaper as well. She's fighting against a character who has electrified hair. So her scissors aren't going to be quite as advantageous as she originally thought. And then the other two dudes who I don't even know who they are. I don't remember who they are. They're paired together with some old dude. We haven't seen what exactly his power is. That's for next week. But it's a solid episode. Solid episode. For me, kind of like Campfire, but not to the same extent. It is hard, especially when I watch something like, really, the problem with Gachiakuta this week is that I watch it immediately after watching My Hero. And this week's episode of My Hero Academia is one of the best episodes of the series to date. You could argue it is the best, and I wouldn't fight you. However, for me, my favorite episode of My Hero is probably still the one, I think it was season 3 maybe, where they're at the camp and Deku is trying to protect that young boy who has the water splashing powers, and he's fighting against that big hulking superpower quirked dude, and he's getting pummeled into the ground. Looks like it might be the end for Deku. Obviously, we know it's not, but it's not looking good, and he finds the strength because he wants to protect people. That's him. Deku is very much so a Captain America type, where he didn't have powers, but he wanted to help people, even without having without having any powers. Then he gets the powers and wants to continue doing what he wanted to strive for when he was powerless. Very, 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 very similar to Captain America. I wouldn't be surprised if that wasn't a strong inspiration for the character. So in that moment, it was great when he found the power to do his ultimate Detroit 5,000% smash, whatever the hell it was. That was a very emotional moment for me watching that because it is reminiscent of the scene from the first Avenger where Captain America, before he gets any of the powers, falls on top of the grenade to protect everyone because that's who he is. And I remember tearing up when that scene was revealed in just the trailer for the movie because it was in that moment I knew the first Avenger was going to be great. They got the character. They knew who Captain America was and they did it. And that's my favorite MCU movie because I love Captain America and that movie so perfectly embodies who he is and why he's so great. And I think the same can be said for that particular episode of My Hero for Deku's character. But really, I think a lot of us My Hero fans would agree that overall, the much more interesting character arcs are specifically amongst the students Bakugo and Todoroki. This episode, as to be expected, given how the last episode ended, was all about really. I mean, you get other things here and there, but it's very much so Bakugo's episode. And it is one, absolutely beautiful. Some of the best animation the show's ever seen. So many great stills can be snapshotted from this episode. Multiple emotional moments. I teared up multiple times watching this episode. And it's just so nice. I think I said this last week, but it's so nice to see My Hero firing the way it is for this final season. If it keeps up this level of quality in terms of the direction, the art, the animation, voice acting, and just everything. If it keeps this up, fantastic. It's going to be an all-timer. And the series deserves it. I know that there's been a lot of fluctuation in terms of the way people feel about the show as it's continued on. There was some rough patches in the middle of it, but it's still overall a great show. I really, really enjoy it. Way more highs and lows for me. And I want nothing more than for it to go out on a super high note. And so far it's killing it. But this episode with Bakugo was just it was very thrilling and emotional seeing him revived and finding the power in him. And when you get the various flashbacks and are reminded of where he came from and his struggles and the growth he's had over the series' run. It's just nice to see him get this moment. And yeah, fantastic episode. Absolutely fantastic episode. Spy Family also great. We got the bulk of Lloyd's backstory overall, seeing what happened immediately after the bombing and him joining the military, his motivations, his very different demeanor from the Lloyd we know, being very serious, not playful, very angry, very violent. There's a fun little run-in with Frankie, and I would love to see a flashback or something to their second interaction. Because the first interaction, you feel like, oh, it's Frankie who helped him break from being this very serious, dead set on killing all of the, I forget the different country's name, but all of the opposing force people. But that isn't what happens. And their interaction is broken up by the people who are chasing Frankie, because Frankie not departed, he deserted the army because he's very much so thinking to himself, why are we doing all this? Why is this war even happening? And why is it that we common folk are the ones who are fighting and dying over something we don't even understand the reasoning behind any of it? And Lloyd is, of course, telling him, you know what? I know why I'm doing this. You guys bombed. You started this. You bombed us. You killed my friends, so on and so forth. We know you did it first. And anything you try to say against it is just your propaganda. And Frank's like, yeah, I understand. Yeah, sure. But same shit happened to me on my side. But then we see Lloyd reunited with his friends because they actually survived and they've been looking for him at the same time. And I realized the reason why they're muting his name every time it's mentioned is because I'm assuming, maybe we already knew this and I just completely forgot because we've been so in it with them and this fake family forever that Lloyd's not his real name. So maybe that'll be revealed at some point and it'll be like, oh my God, that's your name. But I have to assume that his real name, even if it is eventually revealed, isn't going to be oh my God, you're the president's son or some shit. I don't fucking know. But after he comes back out of his flashback, we see, and the flashback ends with his being recruited for spy work and all of that. So I'm curious if we'll get any more flashbacks and whatnot. But when he comes out of it, wakes back up, Anya, obviously being telepathic, can hear his thoughts and what he's going through. She goes over to him, gives him a little pat on the head. You know, everything's okay now. You're okay, which is very cute and adorable. Love the family. That moment for me, it was great seeing all that backstory for Lloyd, seeing his first ever interactions with Frankie. Very different tonal vibe to the show overall, which is relatively lighthearted and playful. But when he wakes up out of that and Anya goes to comfort him, it is just a reminder of something I mentioned, I think, with the first episode, is that while I do love getting this more serious stuff with the war and the spy work and the intrigue and all that jazz. And I'm very interested in the story and how it plays out and what they're actually there to do to the actual mission and all that. Ultimately, what I really want, especially when you see the hardship and the pain that Lloyd endured for all that time when he was by himself, thinking his friends died, the tragedy of war in general for everyone, but specifically focus on these characters were with and enjoying the company of throughout these seasons and continuing on. It's just a good reminder that, or not even so much a reminder, just seeing that side of Lloyd and the side we get with him and the family, the fake family. I just want, when all is said and done, I just want them to become a real family and to be happy, live happily ever after. And that's all I want. That's all I want. I want Lloyd to be happy. No more spy work. No more military. Just live a normal life with your lovely former assassin wife and your, well, they can't unmind they're always going to be telepathic, but that's fine. No, I don't, I think Spy Family, the manga is done. I don't know if it is, but just thinking about it, I would love if if it hasn't happened, or if maybe it'll happen in an additional spin-off manga. I really want to, just thinking about it now, I really want to see what Anya's like as a young adult. And I don't know if we've already gotten that in some kind of manga form, but I would love to see that. I would love to read that or see that, whatever it may be. Thinking about it right now, I'm just like, oh, that would be very, very interesting to see this character, her personality, in an adult. See how things change, see what changes, what stays the same. But a really strong episode of Spy Family. Yeah, the first episode was just like hey, remember us? But these last two episodes have been very, very good. Not quite as good as My Hero, but My Hero is something special right now. But still an excellent show. I should give some I usually 3 episodes in is when I give give shows scores seasonally, and then I adjust it as the time moves on. My Hero is obviously a 10 right now. And Spy Family for me is probably a 10 because I love the vibes. I love these characters. But that's all I've been watching. I still have to catch up with One Piece. It's pretty ridiculous. Maybe I'll do that because I managed to get a whole lot of work done this weekend. And then I haven't started the One Piece manga yet. I'm almost thinking of putting that aside because I didn't realize it was still ongoing. And I think I want to focus on, at least right now, manga that's finished so that I feel like there is an end in sight, and it's not something where it's like I don't need another One Piece in my life in manga form or something like that. I want to work on finished stories. So Jujutsu Kaisen is maybe a possibility. I think the manga ended in a way that people don't like though. So maybe not. Demon Slayer is a possibility. I did add to my favorite so far in the Crunchyroll manga app, which launched, was it early this month or last month? But I added the Apothecary Diaries, which I think might be exclusive to the app, and My Dress Up Darling, which, or at least not available on Viz or Shonen or the manga other thing, Manga Plus. I don't know. I'm subscribed to a bunch of them that I never really, I like to support them, so I say stay subscribed and have been. I've been a Viz subscriber for like 5 years or something and only read something on there these last few months with Kaiju number 8. But I got My Just Darling and Apothecary Diaries at least on the Crunchyroll app. Sadly, I figured it probably wouldn't be the case, but I hella hope that maybe they would have Kawaii Complex on there again, but no luck there because I would immediately just reread that if it was. But I'm not sure what I'm going to read next. And I'm thinking, well, first I have to fucking catch up with One Piece, but ignoring that, I have Rising Impact, which I think is a golf thing on Netflix. Maybe I'll watch that. Then there's also, I've talked about it before, Pluto, Terminator Show, Oceanakoa is in my planning list. But in terms of anime, that is it. Last thing I'll talk about before I end this episode is I watched Relay, which is a new movie from the director of Hell or High Water, one of my favorite movies of all time, a fantastic, fantastic movie. And Relay, I believe in an interview, he even said that it is very much so inspired by the classic 70s era thriller movies, slow burn movies like The Conversation, which is a fantastic movie with Gene Hackman and other similar movies. And I definitely get that vibe early on. However, through the bulk of the movie, it is only ever okay. I'm interested in the premise. It's a premise where people who need help with corporate matters, where they, specifically whistleblowers, typically, when they need help dealing with the corporation who might be trying to silence them in one way or another, they go through this relay service where they don't have direct contact with the person helping them out. And it's done through this relay service because there are legal things in place that allow them for the anonymity and with all of that, and so on and so forth. And there's a fake assumption, I guess, that the person they're working with is also deaf because they use this hard of hearing device to talk so that the mediator will speak for them through none of that really matters, but the relay title comes through this relay service of how people who need help can get help through this service. Anywho, throughout the majority of it, it is kind of interesting, but it never really has that. For being a suspense thriller, it's never that suspenseful or thrilling. The sense of danger isn't that palpable. There's not much in terms of, or at least it doesn't come across the feeling of paranoia. That doesn't really feel super tangible in it. So while it's kind of interesting and it's moderately engaging, it's engaging enough to the point where I wanted to keep watching it and see where the story went. However, it's an hour and 50 minutes, so about maybe 90 minutes in or so, there is a twist that happens. And I won't spoil it in case you want to watch it because a lot of people enjoy the movie a lot. It's overall well received. However, there are people critics and normies alike, who lost it or fell off of it after the twist. Again, I wasn't super into it pre-twist, but the second this twist happens, I went from being indifferent about it to hating it. I think it is an awful movie. It's not poorly directed, so I can't say that the director of it, who directed Hell or High Water, that's his fault for the movie's failings. This comes down to the writing, to the script. The twist that happens is in no way earned, doesn't really make sense to me. It is something that reminds me a little bit of, to compare to a game, Heavy Rain, and how the twist in that did not make sense with how I played that game. This is kind of similar, and it just shat on everything that happened before. It was a fucking stupid ass twist that ruined a movie that, if you're into it, like I was gonna say, it didn't ruin a great movie for me, but if I had liked it, it would have. It is one of the few examples I could think of in recent memory where not exactly an ending, but a near end thing, a twist completely ruins a movie or a movie's potential of being good, which is really, really unfortunate because I was excited about it after I learned of its existence. Because again, I really like Hell or High Water a whole bunch. And that's the director's name is David Mackenzie. And then the lead of the movie, I'm not going to pronounce his name right. Riz. It can't be Riz. Is it Riz? Riz Ahmed, who has been in a whole bunch of stuff. I forget the name. I think it's The Night Of, HBO miniseries that was very good. I've still not seen, but I've heard very good things about. But I was first introduced to him in the satire Four Lions, which is fucking phenomenal. It is so good. I rewatched that recently and it holds up incredibly well. Just look it up if you've never heard of it. Watch it if you've never seen it. Unless you look at it and think, oh, this is not for me because you're fucking closed-minded. I don't know. But it is so good. But he's also been in stuff like the first Venom movie. He was the main antagonist. He was in Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal as his partner and plenty of other things. He was in that drumming movie that I believe was an Amazon thing. I have not watched it, where he starts going deaf. He's a fantastic actor. Really, really love him. He's good in this. It just, again, fucking awful twist. Awful, awful, awful twist. But we've twisted enough for this here episode. So that is going to do it for this here episode. As always, no, that's not a word. Once again, I am Marcus Nez. Y'all can find me pretty much everywhere at PX Sausage. If you enjoyed this here show or any of the stuff I do and what have you, you can support me and my nonsense over at patreon.com/PXS. There you can get access to the sausage dump where I talk about this, that, and whatever, as well as some private Discord channel and some fancy Discord roles, depending on your tier, of course. Or you can just support me to support me if that is your fancy. That is, again, patreon.com/PXS. In addition to Patreon, you can find links to the site, the YouTube, the Discord, and so much more over at pxsausage.com. But that is it. No. Yeah. I don't know what happened there. But yeah, that is it. So as always, thank you for watching or listening. I hope you enjoyed this here episode, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. But for now, adios, arrivederci. Bye. It's go time.